Welcome back to Gandhi. We are coming to the second campaign round, but before that, we've got a card to play. And that is card 20. Let's see what it promises us. Something to do with revolutionaries, right? Card 20. Jugantar formed in Bengal. Jugantar was an early anti-colonial revolutionary group that was established in Bengal in 1906. After a failed attempt during World War I to overthrow British rule with German aid, the so-called German Plot, Jugantar for a time adopted non-violence and supported Gandhi's non-cooperation campaign of 1920. Weakened by the arrest of key leaders and fractured by competing sects within the group, it officially merged with Congress in 1938. Right, this is not a critical event, but this is apparently an event that the non-violent factions want to play straight, the same way the Raj would. Okay, so what do our guerrillas do? I don't think they're going to rally. At least I hope not. Any type of spaces with no unrest and no guerrillas. Die roll, yes. Die roll. Flip. 3+ guerrillas and any spaces without unrest. No, that's bad. March. Oh, great. You know, this is actually the best time for guerrillas to march, the last card of the campaign round. Because they will be all reset during the campaign round. And there is this thing about the march of the guerrillas, is that if they're underground and they enter an area with support, and there are too many of them and too many cubes, they have to flip and become known to the Raj. This is not going to be a problem now. So where are they going to march? Okay, this is going to take a while. I've marked all the 2-pop spaces without unrest with purple pawns. Bombay Presidency, United Provinces, Bengals, Bihar. And now I have to pick randomly. You know what, there's so much I'm going to use the random space table. And can we continue? No. Okay, we're done. This was amazing. Okay, guerrillas did not get any points from just moving, but they sure scared the crap out of everyone. Now they're going to do a special activity, and special activity is aid to go underground. Fine, I'll let it do aid. Though, doesn't really matter. Okay, Operation Special Activity. Now we get to do one operation. Am I going to play the event? I don't want to do anything about guerrillas. It's not going to do anything. So, I can do limited operation, act in one space only, and I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to rally. I'm going to rally here, in Madras Presidency, where there is no support. No control, we can do this. And what am I supposed to do at the end of a rally? I'm supposed to grab one of my pieces and move it here. But I'm going to use that special thing I was talking about, this special resource. I'm going to take one of League activists and put it to Leagues available. And when I do this, I increase unity by 1. And I need unity during the campaign round to agitate. That's my limit to how many spaces I can agitate in. So that is going to help a lot. Yeah, that's my turn. And the next card is going to be, surprising no one, campaign. Who we have now? Lord Willingdon. Ew. Oh, this guy loves deploy. Activation number during deploy is 1, so he's pretty much going to deploy until he runs out of deployables. Now, I'm going to do the campaign round. My plan for the campaign round is very simple. I have people in Madras Presidency, Bombay Presidency, and United Provinces. I'm going to agitate here to flip them to opposition, or active oppositions in Madras. And I'm going to move Gandhi somewhere where he's actually useful in the redeploy phase. But I'm not going to comment on the entire campaign round. You already know what's going to happen. So while I'm doing this, I wanted to tell you about what this series is based on, the core mechanics of the series of games. And it's based on real-life counterinsurgency manual, the American one, I believe, which in turn is based on the French and the British ones. And Americans have been using this manual in places like Vietnam, which fell apart after they left, and Afghanistan, which also fell apart when they left. Perhaps they need to write a new one. As for the French manual, it specifically is used in one of the games in this series, and that is the one set in Algeria, that's Colonial Twilight. I don't know, I might play someday, because it's much faster, it's only 2-player, and the bot is very easy to run. And it is a bit of a grind, but it's an endurance fest in which both sides run out of resources and have to just play events because that's all they can do. They don't have money for anything. And in Colonial Twilight, you also try to maintain support in different areas, and you get that support by being nice to people, providing security. You get your troops, fighting, ready to fight enemies. You get your police, providing work on the ground with the people. And you have control, and that lets you do good government and build up support. Meanwhile, terrorists do terror, which, by the way, does not let them have any support for their cause. They just do terror, and that kind of kills political life in the place in general. They have to agitate, they have to pay resources to get themselves liked more than the government. The other major component of the American counterinsurgency manual is the British one, and that one, like most things written in Britain, is a work of fiction, as it turns out. I mean, they wrote it after India, they wrote it based on, I think, their campaign in Malaya, and it was all about hearts and minds, again, provide good government, make people like you, and you're going to win counterinsurgency. But recent materials, which keep popping up because, people are talking, people are writing things, recent materials are showing that a lot of this hearts and minds involved torture, coercion under the threat of violence, and just flat-out forced resettlement of the population. Luckily, there is a volume of the series in the works called The British Way, which is going to be a 4-pack of games based on British counterinsurgency campaigns after World War II. It's going to include Palestine, Malaya, Kenya, and... oh, crap, I don't remember. Wait, Palestine, Kenya, Malaya... oh, yes, in Cyprus. And these are actually going to be based on more recent materials, and they're not going to be portraying the British way as exactly the nice way of dealing with counterinsurgencies. Unfortunately, the 4 games won't have any bots, but the games are supposed to be fairly easy to get into, 2-player, fast-playing, and there's going to be a special campaign mode which allows you to play all of these with an overarching campaign structure and see if Britain gets some points on the world stage, if it maintains its prestige, or whether Britain gets owned. Oh, and there are going to be some random events played between between the 4 games in the campaign, which may affect the next game one way or another. I think it's a neat idea. You can pre-order it now, and it's going to be released, I don't know, next year, the year after next. It takes a while these days. Board games are suffering from problems with like supply of everything, both the games themselves and their raw materials. So the British Way is going to be, in a way, a sequel to this, though I remember there was some kind of draft of a sequel to specifically Gandhi in the works, which talks about the government that ruled India after this whole campaign of independence, and all these special things it did to people. For example, I believe one of the things that happened in that variant is that the Indian National Congress takes over the Raj cubes, which are used to beat people into submission, because non-violence is so difficult to maintain when you've got a country to run. Anyway, let's fast forward back to the game. I'm about to make a really massive goof, not during the campaign round, but after it, in which I, instead of limited operation, allowed the revolutionaries to do a full operation instead of a limited operation, which somehow resulted in, while I was doing this, I had to undo it later, but revolutionaries, instead of getting their bad luck with the die rolls, were getting the good luck with the die rolls, and they placed unrest in every single space in India, well, every single space where they had presence, which was really fucking amazing, and that was game lost right there. They got like 20 victory points, or 19, but then I realized they should only have been able to do it in like one space, not 10, so I undid it. Crisis averted. And this always happens when I decide to play just one more card. Okay, enough of this, back to the game. Alright, I think I'm done. I've moved Gandhi here to Madras Presidency so that we can start the next campaign in a better state. Let's see. First faction on is the Raj. And it's a critical event for the Raj, so the Raj is going to play its critical event. What is it? Card 49, Independent... Oh, by the way, wait a second. Before we do that, we've got our new Viceroy. Yes, the deploying Viceroy. Let's see what the game has to say about him. Card 76, British Viceroy Lord Willingdon. Major Freeman... What? Major Freeman Thomas, Earl of Willingdon, succeeded Lord Irvine in 1933. He had already served in India, having been the governor of Bombay and Madras before leaving India temporarily to serve as Governor-General of Canada. At the start of his term, the Second Round Table Conference seemed to point towards good relations between the British government and Indian leaders, but that soon fell apart. In 1933, Willingdon outlawed Congress and had Gandhi and 80,000 activists arrested. He left office in 1936. You'd think with his arrest record, you know what I mean, you think he would be specializing in assault, but no, he's good at deploy. Right, and now for the card, which is Independence Day Defiantly Declared. After Congress passed a resolution at the end of 1929 calling for the total independence of India from Great Britain, Congress organized an Independence Day celebration for January 1930. Although mostly symbolic, the act foreshadowed the important events of 1930, including the Salt March, card 55, and Dharasana Raid, card 12. Okay, and how is the Raj going to use this event? In up to 1 spaces, remove 1 protest, or in up to 2 spaces, remove 1 unrest marker. Ooh. I kinda like this. No player Raj, free shift. Okay, so he's going to remove unrest. In up to what spaces? 2 spaces. How many spaces have we got with unrest? Revolutionaries? Well, wouldn't you know it? There are only 2 spaces. So I'm removing unrest from Punjab. And this place shifts towards... Oh, yes, to 1 level towards support. And we're removing from Madras Presidency. Unfortunately, this flips over. And we're still looking good. And the revolutionaries got shat on. They got 5 points for their bases and 2 points for unrest. Now I am free to do operation and special activity. Right? And I'm going to. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start a protest in as many spaces as I can. In how many spaces can I do this? Well, I'm limited to spaces with Gandhi, which is 1, and unrest, which is 2. And now... But wait, I can teleport Gandhi. Yes, I can teleport Gandhi, so I can do this in 4 spaces. We're going to do this in Bombay Presidency. And mind you, this is not just for our activities, this is also to take these markers away from the League and make sure none of them, well, not none of them, but as few of them as possible appear in Muslim spaces. Less headache this way. Right, where do I zap Gandhi? Fine, let's do Rajputana. This recording has been going for a while here. 1 more card. Okay, 28. British seek to divide and rule. Surprise, surprise. 1,000-year-old tensions between the Hindu and Muslim communities in India provided the Raj government opportunities to keep Indians divided. While Gandhi was critical of British policies that formalized divisions in law, such as the Communal Award, Card 64, Jinnah took advantage of the growing divide to cooperate with the British and keep Muslim League leaders out of jail during the turbulent 1940s. So what is the League going to do with our new, freshly shuffled deck? Negotiate with place a Muslim state. Well, I think yes. Space with League activists, no Raj control, not selected for operations, yeah. Negotiate to place a Muslim state. Here you go. This goes away, this comes here. And the points are now... Oh, right, yes, they do not get many points, but our points dropped. We lost 4 points, and they got nothing. Fine. Right, that was their special activity. Going to be their operation. Die roll... Well, let's see. No. Unavailable protest markers? Yes. Civil disobedience. Oh, and they cannot select East Bengal because it's been used for negotiate, and negotiate can only be done in the space not used for operations. So this is out. They're starting protests in West Bengal, and I think they're going to start them in Punjab as well. Then the revolutionaries are going to play the event. They're not going to be first eligible on the next card. No, it's not going to be critical. They're going to play... Yes, they're going to be playing the event. Shift unity -1, add 1 Muslim League. Oh, wait a second. They cannot add a base. They've already got all of their bases on the map. And unity -1 doesn't do anything for them. And shift that space 2 levels towards active support. This doesn't do anything for the revolutionaries. This is not an effective card, so they're just going to do a limited operation. Let's see what it is. Any guerrillas in 2 pop spaces with no unrest? Underground guerrillas in 2+2 pop spaces with no unrest. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Oh, there's going to be unrest. Yes, there is going to be unrest. The game specifically tells the bot to target areas with the most opposition if the player, the human player, is playing as one of the non-violent factions. Priorities are United Provinces and Bombay Presidency equal. I have literally done this in every space where there was no unrest. There is only one space left where they can potentially do this. Holy shit, this was epic. And now I have to undo all of this because guess what? This was limited operation. I keep screwing up doing a full operation when I'm supposed to do a limited one, because in I think most of the older coin games, that's what the bot does. If the bot is in the second position after and supposed to play a limited operation, they're allowed to do a full operation. And it keeps happening. I think I ended everything. We've got unrest in United Provinces. I'll check the recording and see if I missed something else. And that's the turn. Alright. I'm going to save and stop here and record the commentary for that time when I was doing the campaign round.